Israel-Hamas conflict is intensifying following the killing of key figures from Hamas and Hezbollah. This escalation has prompted Iran and its allies to vow retaliation. The situation is further complicated by increased U.S. military support for Israel and international advisories for citizens to leave Lebanon amid rising tensions. DD India's Mihir Maikuri has more.
The conflict that started with Israel fighting Hamas after the October 7 massacre last year is now widening. This escalation follows the killing of Hamas military chief Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran and the Israeli assassination of Hezbollah's military chief Fuad Shukr in Beirut. These actions have led Iran and its proxies to vow retaliation. For Israelis, Sunday night was a nightmare as the country's Iron Dome missile defense system intercepted Hezbollah's rocket barrage. In response, the Israeli army targeted a Hezbollah launcher in Lebanon. Following the US approval to send more warships and fighter jets to West Asia to bolster support for Israel, President Joe Biden expressed hope that Iran would de-escalate despite its threats of retaliation for the assassination of Hamas leader.
We've now added additional naval and air assets to the region to help defend Israel again. I think we've proven time and time again that we're going to support Israel.
Amid worsening security situation in West Asia, multiple countries including the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Sweden, India and Jordan have advised their citizens to leave Lebanon. Meanwhile, Gaza truce negotiations took place in Cairo between an Israeli delegation and Egyptian mediators. As per Israeli media, Prime Minister Netanyahu is not eager to strike a deal with Hamas. On Sunday, Netanyahu accused Hamas of obstructing the negotiations aimed at ending the Gaza conflict. As the risk of a wider conflict grows, only time will tell how Iran and its proxies will retaliate and how Israel will respond to the threat. Mihir Maikuri's report for DD India.
DD India's Trent Moray now joins us live from Beirut. Trent, how are tensions shaping up in West Asia in view of Hezbollah-Israel tensions and also Iran vowing retaliation to Hamas leader Haniyeh's killing?
Well, we know that tensions certainly are ratcheting up, and there is a real sense of unease, I think, for people not just here in the Lebanese capital, but right across the region, that we could be on the brink of quite a major war. Of course, both sides publicly signalling that they are prepared to go into this with a real show of strength, and that's really against a backdrop of other movements in the region, including the US sending warships as well as additional fighter jet squadrons in anticipation of potentially having to assist Israel in shooting down any missiles or rockets that attempt to enter its airspace. We, of course, also know that the Iranians, both in state media but also in political statements, are signalling that the response that is coming will likely be larger than the one that we saw in April, which was around 300 cruise missiles and ballistic rockets. So it's obviously a tense time right now. We know diplomats are working very hard to try and diffuse tensions. We understand the Jordanian foreign minister has made a rare visit to Tehran this afternoon on behalf of King Abdullah to try and talk the Iranians down from launching a wide-scale attack that could cause a war. But the Wall Street Journal is reporting this hour that the Iranian response to that is they don't care if there is a wide-scale war. They really believe that Israel needs to be sent a message after that airstrike in Tehran, and that's a message that they're prepared to send with force.
Trent, you're telling us the diplomatic efforts are on for a diplomatic solution, but then how real is the possibility still of a wider conflict or full-fledged war in West Asia?
Well, look, I think all we can really work with is the public rhetoric that we are hearing, particularly from Hezbollah here in Lebanon. They are vowing that there is going to be a strong response, one that is, quote, very real and not theoretical. This coming from a group which is thought to possess between 130 and 150 1,000 rockets and missiles. And of course, their proximity being on the border to Israel means there's very little time for Israel to be prepared for short fire rockets over the border, that's for sure. And I think we also just have to look at some of the movements which are taking place. Of course, not just the military aspect with the US, but also we are hearing some senior leadership from Hezbollah has now left the headquarters here in southern Beirut out of anticipation of any additional Israeli strikes. We're also hearing in Israel, for what it's worth, that bunkers have been prepared for the government there in the event of war. Ministers have been given satellite phones in case the cell phone network goes down. And a new app has been rolled out by the Home Front Command for Israelis to get instant notifications on their phone if there is a rocket attack, regardless of whether they've installed the official app or not. So certainly the trend lines would suggest that we are moving towards something which could spiral into a major conflict. But again, that's why the diplomats are working to try and bring down the temperature the best they can.
Trent Murray reporting from Beirut.